Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to episode, it's like 90, I think it's 94 of The Knife Guy. And today I am joined with fellow YouTube knife reviewer, Seven Ready, or Raphael. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Absolutely. So you are from Switzerland, is that correct?
That's correct. Not
All
Germany.
right. Oh, okay. You told me. So he and I have had many conversations on Instagram, and I was like, before when we were talking about doing this, I was like, "You're from Germany, right?" And he was like, "No." So I felt really bad about that. I'm sorry. Oh man. Well,
it's not like I have the Swiss cross in my logo and everything. So,
I know. Jeez, man. Oh my gosh. I literally just now I feel so stupid. Wow. Okay. Well, that was my fault. So, guys, listen. I'm gonna be linking his channel right down in the description of this video right now. Please go check out his channel. Subscribe to him. Absolutely. As you can see, the next time he talks, you're going to see again the amazing array of knives he's got laid out there. I'm seeing Rockstead. I'm seeing the Oz Machine Company Roosevelt. He's got a Hinderer, which we're definitely going to talk about, and a whole bunch of other amazing stuff. How long have you been collecting knives?
Yeah, that's pretty long. I think not as long as you, because you have like 10 years or something or more. I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's like 5 or 6, maybe. Not super long because I'm also not that old. So I'm just approaching 30, but it's like 5 or 6 years, and more seriously, like the last couple of 2.5 years, and
Okay.
getting into the custom stuff a little bit more, like not even a year.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, you've definitely accomplished quite a bit there. I'm gonna guess that's like, as is usually the case when I talk with people, they lay out just part of their collection. So I'm assuming that this is just part of it. You probably have a ton more now.
I have like, since about a year or so, I have this fancy tray system. So I have that all in a Pelican case. I have 3 of them, and I have the bottom layer where I have all the tools and everything. So everything is neatly tucked away.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Holy crap.
it's kind of fun, and I designed everything myself, and it was actually built by a company here in Switzerland, because it was like $1 million to ship an Alpac case from the US to here. This was also not that cheap, but it was easier to do, and I could design it better than if I went with an Alpac. I talked with them like for months, and in the end I said no, it doesn't work like the Alpac guys. But that's probably just because I'm an international customer there. But with these, it works really great. I'm just limited to about 50.
Oh wow.
But that's a good
awesome.
thing. So
your organizational system is better than mine. And just looking at this pile here, I was like, man, like he's got knives that really put some of mine to shame. And then you showed me the other, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, no, my collection is nowhere near as prestigious as yours. You've got some awesome stuff. That's really cool. I've gone and checked out a bunch of your reviews, and I like your style and the presentation that you offer there, and insight essentially, because there's obviously a lot of stuff that you've got that some other reviewers get their hands on, but definitely not everybody. So it's nice that you're able to offer that insight alongside what I can see are knives that also don't cost that much money. And I think that people appreciate that. There are some channels that exclusively cover ultra high-end, unobtainable, expensive stuff, and that's fine. But a lot of people, they really want to be able to pick up some of this stuff. So it's cool that you cover. It looks like a wide range of different stuff on your channel. I'm correct in assuming that, right?
Yeah, that was always like kind of the goal. Of course, in the beginning there was nothing like super high end. Like forever, the Sebenza was like the top end of everything I ever aspired to have, and this actually was a gift, so even better from my girlfriend. But I think this was for the longest time like the craziest thing you could ever have. and then it spiraled out of control from there. But
Yeah,
it
that's
was
how it goes. Oh,
it was
sorry, go ahead.
always the idea to cover the widest variety I could provide with the means that I have on hand. And still now I have like this that's like a $20 knife that's like the new CRKT and Richard Rogers dually, like little sub 2-inch double D10 flipper with a bottle opener at the end, and pretty cool GFN handles, which I usually don't like, but these look actually pretty a lot more expensive than you would think. Great
Yeah.
clip as well, like $20 here, and then you have like a Rockstead or a Oz Machine Company, which on the secondary is now pretty ridiculous. But I didn't get it from the secondary, so I actually choose all the things on here, all the Zerk and everything, and this was bought from the maker. And I usually only like to do the custom stuff from the maker if it's not like ridiculously cheap or a super good deal, because then you get like the full experience from the knives that you get. And that's
Cool.
like the crazy range that we have here. But I like all of them for different reasons and for different uses. But this is super fun. This is a thing that you can use all the time. You can have it everywhere. You can just lay it around, and it's just
Yeah.
a fun thing to have. And you can have like thousands of these for any of the others. So it's very
Sure.
very very fun to have like the wide variety. And also, if I only review stuff like this, I would make a review every couple of months.
Yeah, you'd have to, because I mean that's the thing, is that for anybody wondering, if anybody's ever thought like maybe I should start a channel. Yeah, the answer is yeah, you should, because it's fun to do. But depending on what it is you review, like if you were to only, well, here's the thing: if you are a millionaire, then you could review a custom knife every single day. But that becomes difficult. So it is beneficial, of course, for your audience to, in my opinion, see a wide range of things and to have a consistent, whatever, consistency it needs to be, a consistent flow of content, right? But yeah, it's cool. And it's spoken like a true knife guy, man, because like the way that you put that, not only do you enjoy a wide range of stuff for a wide range of reasons, but the tipping point for you is largely the same as it was for me and for a lot of people, because a lot of people start off with, of course, less expensive knives, then they kind of graduate into maybe the $100 territory, or maybe they sort of aspire to get their first Spyderco or Benchmade, and then people idolize either, it seems to be largely Rick Hinder or Chris Reeve, and they think that is the ultimate. I love how yours looks, by the way, that black micarta and the silver, because
It's
that's
super
really similar
nice.
to the one that I picked up. And you
And the blade shape.
aspired. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. It's funny that you aspire, like, because to a lot of people, those are the ultimate knives. And truthfully, in a lot of ways, they kind of are at their own checkpoint. There is this Hinder, beautiful. But then what we don't realize is, even though we tell ourselves, this is going to be my ultimate knife, I'm never going to have to buy another knife past this one. Once you get there, it just explodes into what you essentially what you have on the table now. That's the explosion point, and that's cool that's what kind of happened to you. I like hearing that.
That's the thing for everybody. Like the first knife I ever bought for myself, like really I wanted a knife and I looked at the different things and really chose something. It was a Kershaw Chill.
Okay.
Like a $10 Kershaw Chill. Here in Switzerland it was like 30 francs
Yeah.
because of import and everything. And I also in the end didn't got the one that I actually ordered, because in my wisdom that I had at that time, I ordered the partially serrated one, but I got the plain edged in the end.
Oh, dude, but hey, listen, partially, like, everybody starts off with that, like, we're all, most of us, I think, are attracted to the hyper tactical looking inexpensive knives. And for whatever reason, when I was younger, I remember thinking, it's got to be Tanto, it's got to be serrated, and it's got to have a black coating. That must be the ultimate in terms of capability. It's funny that we're initially attracted to stuff that you don't, not necessarily Tantos, but the serrated stuff, you don't see that on the mega high ends. You see the full edged knives, and it's just funny that's how you kind of, most people make that natural transition when they start off with the less expensive stuff and move into the expensive stuff. So it's cool.
It,
Yeah.
it actually gets more and more stripped down the further up you go the ladder for some reason, which is like this one that's a custom from a pretty small volume custom maker from Belgium, the Simmons Strickers. He has this logo here on the lock bar cut out.
Okay, I love
And
that. I'm
it
gonna
has
just
a
tell you right now,
super
that
nice
is,
action. And it's
oh,
also like a tapered handle style, like you have it on one Wii knife. I don't know the name, but it has like the completely tapered handle. It's not by much, but it's actually tapered. And in the beginning, you have like the super crazy stuff, but in the end, you realize it's not really hard to do the flashy, crazy stuff to attract people, but it's really
sure.
hard to do something stripped down, elegant, clean lines that actually works and feels that expensive with being so stripped down and with no bells and whistles. And that's, I
Oh,
think, is the thing that attracts people to like things like a Shamwari or something like the clean lines from one of my favorite designers like Brad Zinker,
okay.
because it's much harder to do a knife with elegant and clean lines that actually looks good and performs well than if you have like thousands of finger choils and everything, because then it's somehow kind of easier to do to get something that will fit more people. And also there are certainly some nice Tantos that are out there, and I think the Tanto is probably not the most useful for most people, but it's certainly one of the coolest looking, and I think Ray Laconico was one of the best
Oh,
kind of
beautiful.
Tantos out there. But that's
Very
not a
cool.
Laconico, it's just a Alliance Designs collaboration built by Riyadh.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, see, you have a bunch of stuff. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight your channel. Not just the way that you present this stuff. I mean, anybody can own this stuff. You can pay for it, you can own it. But the beneficial insight is another thing, and you definitely have that. But you also, another reason why I think people are going to enjoy going and checking your channel out, you have a lot of stuff that people don't you have stuff that people know about, but you also have a lot of stuff, including that beautiful one that you picked up and showed me there, the one from Belgium. I have never, so that is 100% right up my alley in terms of the aesthetic and the way that the fully flat ground blade, the contouring on the scales. That is wonderful, man. I love that. So that's cool that you're able to show things that at least I've not seen that. I'm going to assume maybe there's a lot of people who've never seen that, but then offer insight on it. So that's cool. Yeah, talk about that. So the screen changes back.
Yeah, sure. It's the Tour model, so it's like Thor but with a U, and it's like one of his flipper models. He doesn't have a lot. I also had another one from him that I sold eventually that looked a little bit like a Spyderco, like a kind of a larger Techno with a little bit of a hump in the blade. That is called now I have to think. I believe the Compound, which
Okay.
had micarta scales, titanium frame lock, pretty much the same clip, and which was a little bit smaller. But he really has some interesting designs, and he really is doing this part-time, so he's not really putting out a lot. And he actually did a lotto for this one after I sold the other one, because I got a ridiculous trade offer for that one. Because some people who may know my channel, I had this I don't know the maker, but I had like a Damacore crazy custom, and I actually got that one that was like over $2,000 new for the Strickers. And the Strickers are very inexpensive but pretty hard to get, because he just doesn't do a lot because he doesn't have time.
Sure, sure.
But I got that in trade, and in the end I said it would be stupid not to trade it. But I'm very happy that I could pick up this one, because I think it's even better than the thumb opening one, which also had a pretty strong D10 and was fun flicking. But this really has a different vibe going on. It's not really like anything else I have. If you like compare it to a Shiro or something,
Okay,
it's
okay.
a very good size. It's slightly larger than the Neon here at the bottom, but it just feels somehow more handmade, which it is. It just feels more touched, more refined, even though like refinement on a Shiro is nothing to sneeze at, but it really
Sure.
feels very nice. And it's fun to have something that's kind of rare and kind of hard to get, and also from Europe, because that's also like a point of the channel and a point of the collection to like highlight a bit the stuff that you don't get that much over there in the US, even though French knives get more and more popular, it seems. But like this one here, this is a Rémy Lavial from France. I
Oh,
think
beautiful.
Frankie also had one of these in a kind of a Damascus, and this is one with a clip because he doesn't really like to do clips, which is the same with a lot of French makers. Also, the Guy Poggetti here has a clip up on my request, but he also doesn't like to do that very often. But it's really fun to like show stuff that doesn't get that much attention, and also you can actually get an order from these makers now. Because they are not at the peak level like a Georget or something like that, but the quality is super, super similar. And the designs are very much better in my opinion. I actually have another French maker front flipper on order. These are not inexpensive, but in comparison to what makers of this quality and prestige, US makers of this quality and prestige would go at, these are cheap in comparison to that. So I actually have a Thierry Savidan in building at the moment in like Warthog Tusk and some Zerk, and that should look really cool.
Oh man, dude, you're doing an excellent job of giving people a reason to go check out your content. I was I was mesmerized by that because it's so beautiful, and I've never, like, you just showed me multiple things in a row that I have never heard of. That's a huge reason to go check that out. I mean, not only because you can see it there, but you're giving insight on this stuff, and in contrast with things that are available widely or widely known to those of us here in the United States, the stuff that's in front of our face all the time, right? So that's excellent. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go now. I'm gonna have to go watch a number of of your videos in addition to the ones I've seen, so I can so I can see the stuff there on that. Oh man, I love that. So that leads me into another question. I was gonna ask you because I'm always curious about foreign knife laws, and because I always feel bad for so many people who don't live in the U.S. and are so restricted. You can obviously own a lot of this stuff, but are there lots of restrictions on carrying this stuff where you live?
Actually, in Switzerland, we have a pretty good knife law in comparison to something like UK or Germany. We can actually, I can carry anything of this, no problem. So there's no like a blade length limit. There is no like locking mechanism limit, and everything that you can own, you can also carry. So there's nothing that you can own but not carry, which I think is a really stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
Because either it's very, very dangerous and people shouldn't have it, or it's no big deal and then you can also carry it.
Sure.
So you're
nice, just like Kansas. I mean, you have the same. That's great. It's just like
not really, because on automatics we have a little issue there. Because for the longest time I actually believed that we cannot have any kind of automatics and all of them are illegal, because the law is written so poorly that it's very easily misunderstood. Because it says it cannot be over 5 centimeters in blade length, which is just under 2 inches, or 12 centimeters in handle length. And I always read that as an R, as an and then every knife is illegal, because there are not really a lot of knives that have an overall length of under 12 centimeters. That's like the smallest stuff is over 12 centimeters, which is like 5 inches, I believe, around there. Yeah. So, but it's or, so if it has a blade under like at 1.9 inches, it's actually legal. And that's why I have these two now.
Okay.
So these are my only autos that are legal, but it also doesn't matter if it's an OTF or a side opening auto, which are these two. So there is actually also from Böker Plus, there is coming a USB out the front auto, which should fall under that 2-inch kind of blade length thing, and that will probably be my first out the front, because I missed out on the drop of the Cali Legal Microtechs, which were available also here in Switzerland for a brief amount of time.
Well, that's good that you can at least carry some automatics, but I mean, I'm sure, you obviously you have enough there to keep you happy. It's not like you're like, oh, I can't be happy unless I can carry a gigantic Microtech OTF. Now, I mean, that's great that for the most part, it sounds like they're pretty reasonable about what you can and can't carry there. So
Also,
that's
ballad
good.
songs and stuff like that is are illegal, and push daggers and all
Yeah.
that stuff. All the scary stuff from the movies is illegal.
Okay. All right. I see. The only thing that I've ever like here, they're like, don't carry a knife where if you push a button, the blade literally fires out the end of it like a ballistic knife. That's literally the only that they're like, we don't want you to have that. But if you want to carry around a sword or whatever, then that's fine. That's the law here. So I would say it's very not strict. And I think that the laws on autos, like the length is silly because it's like, well, if I can carry, if like you can carry around a blade that's 10 inches long if you want, but if it's an automatic, it has to be. So
So that's legal, the F95NL.
yeah.
And this is legal in the specially modified Swiss version that a store in Switzerland actually brought out with a German knife maker, because you have to modify it in Germany, where you can own knives that are longer than automatic knives that are longer than 2 inches, but you cannot carry them. So he actually had modified it in Germany, where these are distributed by Böker, and just ground off a little bit from the tip, so it's under the 2-inch limit, and now it's legal here also to own. But this is also perfectly fine. So I don't really see the reasoning there. So
Yeah,
it's
I know.
it's also not like it opens any faster.
Exactly. Exactly. You can flip it. Oh, it's so that's the thing, is that like we in the knife community, we know this, we can point this out, but the media and movies and just like the way that stuff like that, the way that something that is generally considered a weapon is presented, a switchblade is scary. So it looks like something that is
and the ballast designed. Is very scary.
It's very scary, right? When the vast majority of us are just all, we're turning this stuff over, enjoying it for, in many cases, the craftsmanship or the utilitarian elements. And then we are literally just carrying it and waiting for the next box to open, which is ironically usually containing another knife.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. I love your collection. And I got to ask you about that Hinderer, because so Raphael owns what is essentially the king of the 3-inch models there. You have a non-flipper 3-inch. And so if you've ever watched my channel or anybody else's channel that talks about Hinderer knives, it's cool that they have a flipper tab, and the larger ones do a little better with it. But especially when we're talking about the 3-inch models, the flipper tab is really in the way ergonomically, especially when you're trying to choke up on it. So my favorite version of the 3.5-inch is actually a non-flipper, but for people looking for a 3-inch, I don't know what your exact thoughts on this are, but I'm guessing and hoping you really like it, because with that not having the flipper tab, and you guys can't see it right now because I'm talking, but you'll be able to see it here in a sec. With that not having the flipper tab, it essentially makes that the most perfect 3-inch model that exists. But now you can, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's certainly true, because I actually had an older X-18 3-inch Wharncliffe one with a jade scale, but with the flipper tab. And I always thought about if I could find anybody here in Switzerland who could do a flipper delete, because I actually really like the Wharncliffe that Hinderer does, not for any kind of practical reason, but it just looks really cool. And now I think my absolute favorite version of this one would be, probably because I have small hands, so I can fit very well on the 3-inch handle there. So I probably would like to see a non-flipper, no-choil slicer 3-inch would be probably the absolutely perfect one for me. But I certainly had to modify it with aftermarket, non-Hinderer, unfortunately. My Micarta scales from I believe RC Blade Works, if I'm not mistaken. And I probably will get an MXG deep carry clip for it as well. But other than that, it's just a super standard tri-way kind of Hinderer. And I have to say, these new Hinderers, in comparison to the old one that I had pretty long ago, I believe like two years or more. But it was an older one, even that like generation 2 or 3. I don't know really with the 3 inches how the generations go, but the quality and like the precision. I took it apart once because I had to put on the scales, of course, and everything really was done exceptionally well. And I didn't feel it was the case with the other Hinder that I had. So I think these two are now very, very close. If Hinder didn't really go above and beyond, because they still use pretty much all the same things that they have done forever. And Hinder really kind of progressed, and with the new pivot system, it's like night and day if you compare it to the older one. So I'm very happy with the new Hinder there, and it was much better than I actually anticipated. And these are actually the only two that I like from the Holy Trinity. I never ever liked anything from Strider. I would probably check out the PT just so I had one once.
Sure.
But I really don't like the handle shape, and that you have like 0.2 inches of blade and like a enormous choil. So these two are actually the best like old American companies to get nitro, in my opinion.
That's so cool, man. And he's right. And that's like, for people, you know, watching right now, and you're at that point that I was talking about earlier, where you are maybe starting to get curious, or maybe even lusting after a Chris Reeve or a Hinder knife, and you're wondering, you know, is it hype? You know, do all these reviewers and these people who enjoy this stuff, do they enjoy it because they're giving themselves some sort of subconscious reaffirmation of spending all that money on it? And the answer is no, it's not just reaffirmation, because a lot of us, including Raphael here, obviously have spent way more money on way more knives. The reason that so many people come to enjoy Chris Reeve knives and Hinder knives is because their quality is legitimately that good. It actually makes you feel really good about having spent $400 to $450 on a knife, because it's exceptional. And you're right, Hinder didn't used to be that good, you know, when it came to the fit and finish and the quality. I owned a Gen 3 and multiple Gen 4s, and they got slowly better, but God, the Gen 6 on the XM18 3.5 inch and the current generation on the 3 inch, which I believe is 3 for the Triway, are just exceptional. They are actually, I could be wrong. It might actually be 4. I'm not up on my history with the 3 inch as much, but they are exceptional. What you have there is the only 3 inch model that I would ever pick up. Exactly that, a spear point 20 CV with no flipper. And you've got me interested in adding my Carta to it, because that looks beautiful.
It looks really nice.
I love it, man. That is exceptional.
It also really patina's kind of nice, and these RC Bladeworks scales are actually pretty inexpensive, and the quality is super nice, and they are fitted really well, and they're also not super thick, but they really add a lot of traction, and it just looks much better and feels better. I never was a fan of the like G10 Hinder scales. I think they have a lot of fun stuff aftermarket, but the G10 with that special kind of texture never really appealed to me. But this looks really cool, so I'm very happy with how this in the end turned out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that, man. Well, dude, this has just been so fun. And just so my audience knows, I'm gonna ask Raphael to come back and do this with me again, because like, obviously, you know, you're fun to talk to. And I'm realizing that every time you come back, I get to look at stuff that I've never seen before. And I'm interested in this stuff. You know, this is cool. And but yeah, I mean it when I say, obviously, you guys, you know, you have a million reasons now to go check out his channel, but seriously, take the time to, you know, open up my description, click on that link for his channel, and go check out his content, because he's got some amazing stuff, and obviously fantastic insight and experience with this kind of stuff. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share before we signed off here?
I could plug the giveaway that's running at the moment if I can.
Absolutely, you can. Go right ahead, bud.
So about a week or so ago, I started a giveaway on the channel where I give away like a couple of CRKTs and also a Mazarine that the review will drop like in 1 or 2 weeks. It's a pretty new one, pretty interesting stuff, and you can also win like a pen, a brass bolt action pen, and a wallet and everything. So 3 winners in total. When I get to 5,000 subscribers on the YouTube and 3,000 followers on Instagram, then I will draw all the winners. And I'm coming along pretty nicely. I'm now at like 4,800 on YouTube. On Instagram, it's still a little ways to go, but it's like 2,500 something around there. So not in not non-reachable, but yeah, if you put the link maybe to the video, or you just can check out the channel of mine, and there you can watch the video. Not a lot of stuff you have to do, just like subscribe to the channel and to the Instagram and put a comment. It's pretty much it.
Okay, well, fantastic. I'll make sure
And
that
it's open internationally, so for all the US
Oh.
guys that watch, I ship it
Hey.
everywhere.
That's excellent, because as a lot of you guys know, a lot of these types of things are not open international. So that's excellent. So I'll make sure that I put your Instagram at the beginning of the video, but I'll also put it here. Make sure to follow him on Instagram. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. And gosh, yeah, I mean, that sounds like an excellent giveaway. So, you know, you guys should definitely go. And then, of course, you get the benefit of experiencing the content that he's bringing for you guys, the knives that he's going to show. So that's great. Hey, I really appreciate you coming and talking with me, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for
This
doing
was
that.
really fun, and it actually worked out great once we figured out the technical aspects of everything. So
Yeah, we did that thing, guys, where it's just neither of us can hear each other, but we can see each other. So both of us are just pointing at headphones and pointing at each other, and there was no progress. So we just kept doing it. We figured it out though. It just worked. If you've ever used Zoom, which is what we use for this, then you know it can be kind of a mess. But anyways,
it's actually the first time I ever used Zoom, so it was totally new to me. Since
Yeah.
I don't do like home office or anything like that, so it never had anything to do with Zoom
yeah,
before.
yeah. Well, hey, we got it figured out. That's all that matters. Yeah, hey, thanks again for coming and hanging out with me, sharing
Thanks
this
for having me.
information.
It's
Absolutely.
pretty big honor to do one of these. I always watch the stuff you do with Slicey and the other guys, and I thought it would be cool to do that one myself. So in the end, I kind of cheated my way into one of these.
No, I'm happy to have you. And seriously, we will do this again. This is great.
That would be cool.
Fantastic, man. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for watching. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, click on that. I think it's on this side of this, I can't remember. Click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.